Also, another weird kind of anecdote or end note to this story is that Russell Pierce, one of the main authors of this legislation, he's an Arizona state senator now. He has a bunch of ties to white supremacists, both in Arizona and all over the place. I'm not surprised to hear it. I'm not at all surprised to hear it. And the most glaring hypocrisy to me here is that on one hand, we have Republicans worrying about too much government intrusion into people's lives. And at the same time, we have them supporting, on the whole, supporting legislation that allows ad hoc, willy-nilly intrusion into people's lives based on reasonable suspicion that somebody looks like they could be in the country illegally. And Joe Arpaio is known, speaking of associations with white supremacists, Joe Arpaio has long been known as a guy who has been, what's the right word? Not having dinner with, and not in bed with, but very closely associated with white supremacists and neo-Nazis. He is the Maricopa County sheriff. He says we will not have racial profiling. And here's his explanation about why this won't lead to racial profiling.
Well, first of all, that's not going to happen. I know pursuant to their duties, they're not going to go on a street corner and grab people because they look like they're from another country. We haven't been doing that for the past 3 years, and I know law enforcement officers will not do that. That's hype. Those are the critics. Some politicians use that as an excuse because they don't like.
Okay, so he's saying, hey, his office hasn't been doing that for years. So that's not going to happen. His office hasn't been doing it because it's been illegal up until this point, up until this law actually goes into place. So Joe Arpaio, I don't know if he doesn't care. They decided not to do it, even though it was illegal. They just said, you know what, we're not going to break the law. No, they haven't been doing it because it hasn't been legal. So that explanation just doesn't sit with me. This is legislation that allows racial profiling. Whether you agree or disagree that that's the right way to go, that's a discussion we can have. You know which side I'm on, but this is certainly laying the groundwork for that. Now, what about me? I happen to be Hispanic in a way. I'm from Argentina. I look very white. I'm not going to get stopped, right? Presumably with this law, I don't look like I'm an illegal immigrant, but it's just as likely that going by looks is going to exclude people from these checks that may actually be people we want to be stopping. And we've known for a while that the actual real terrorists are getting smarter and smarter about knowing who's going to be picked off and questioned, whether it's at an airport, like has happened to you, Lewis, questions about, well, how can you be both Jewish and your dad's from Iran and having to provide papers, for lack of a better term. I think this also opens the door to that, which isn't even really being mentioned right now.
No, you're right. I mean, it goes both ways, but I don't know what else to say about it.
New poll is up on midweekpolitics.com. The new Arizona immigration reform law is unconstitutional in some way. Yes or no? It's a very simple poll. It's on midweekpolitics.com, and I invite you to check it out. And also make sure to visit our new Facebook page, facebook.com/midweekpolitics. We'll actually be posting Lewis Got a Makeover. Lewis is known for not dressing particularly well on the show. Sometimes he wears Bud Light shirts, and sometimes he wears New England Patriots shirts. So we actually had him made over at Jackson and Connor, a store in the city where we do our show. And we filmed it today. I don't want to give anything away, but it's pretty funny. And it'll be available on YouTube pretty soon.
A very, very funny, good comedic segment.
John McCain is questioning the legality of the immigration law, but we won't listen to him talk about that because he is now... Remember how John McCain had the whole Maverick campaign? Everybody is aware that John McCain has been calling himself a Maverick for a long time. Well, now John McCain is saying he never actually said he was a Maverick. I know this could be confusing to our audience because for years he's been portrayed as a Maverick. And he said to Newsweek recently, I never considered myself a Maverick. Now, if you just don't remember, here's one of his campaign ads. You tell me how he refers to himself.
Our legislature acted...
I think that's the wrong one. We do have...
Reform Wall Street, battle big oil, make America prosper again. He's the original Maverick. One is ready to lead. McCain.
I'm John McCain, and I approve this message.
Okay, so he didn't... I guess technically the voiceover guy said that McCain is the Maverick, but we did hear John McCain saying, I approve this message. So to say he never called himself a Maverick, I don't know. And there's plenty more of this. I mean, in a campaign speech about Barack Obama, he said, Sarah Palin and I don't agree on every issue. what do you expect of two mavericks? To agree on everything? And then more ads saying he reformed Wall Street, he made America prosper again. He is the official maverick. And at a campaign appearance, if you want real reform, send a team of mavericks. Maybe he was talking about Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Maybe he was saying, send the mavericks, and he's not part of that.
I'm pretty sure I've heard him say during the campaign that he is a maverick numerous times.
The cherry on top of this three-layered cake is that there's a book called Worth Fighting For, The Education of an American Maverick and the Heroes Who Inspired Him. And do you know who wrote that book? John McCain. So again, unless he wrote the book about someone else, he is saying that he is a maverick. And it's very clear what this is about. It's Republican primary voters who are hesitant to vote for a maverick. We've seen Arlen Specter have to switch parties because Republican primary voters weren't going to elect him. We've seen a number of other candidates whose campaigns are now being called into question. And John McCain, I think it's very clear, is aware of that and is worried the Maverick Association may not benefit him as much as it once did. We'll take a break. Jesse Ventura next. Glenn Miller after that. It's the Jews stupid is his campaign.
This is Midweek Politics with Dave Pakman.
Midweek Politics is brought to you in part by Jackson & Connor, classically modern men's apparel in Northampton, Massachusetts on the second floor of Thorne's Marketplace, and by DIF Design, specializing in custom business websites at difdesign.com. To find out more about underwriting Midweek Politics, visit midweekpolitics.com.